And there we are. We are live. Another edition of TigerBait Live. I think a lot more pep in the step for a lot of LSU fans this week. Certainly LSU coaches and football staff are probably feeling a lot better after a must, I don't know if it was a must-have, but I think it was a must-have win, a great win at Florida last weekend. And now Ole Miss comes to town 7-0, one of their best teams in many years. But a lot of people say they haven't played anybody. And now LSU's a favorite. They start off as an underdog and quickly become a favorite in this one. So I think we got a lot to talk about. Men's and women's SEC basketball media days the last few days, recruiting. We can hit on a lot of topics tonight. So welcome into the show. Welcome, buddy.
Good to see you, Mike Scarborough. It is a busy time, folks. You got Zion and the Pelicans up at Brooklyn. Of course, Cam Thomas, former LSU player, and Ben Simmons, the wacky Ben Simmons now. So a lot of LSU flavor there. Earlier today, NOLA against NOLA. We saw Tiger on Tiger crime with Jamar Chase making the Honey Badger look bad on that touchdown. But Austin Nola, the older brother, gets a hit against Aaron, the younger one. And so they take down the Phillies. And then, of course, as we know, LSU Ole Miss, a storied football game, and Alabama getting beat by Tennessee. The goalposts come down. I mean, we have a ton to talk about.
Absolutely.
Along with recruiting, and I'm in an appreciably better mood. I think the smiles and the lack of tension we saw on the sidelines, that has given me a comfort zone, but I am cautiously nervous for Saturday afternoon.
Well, you see the guys that have been topics of a division or people arguing about. Daniels has 6 touchdowns, 3 throwing, 3 running. Keyshawn Butte goes over 100 yards, scores. So it had a little bit of everything that was a little bit of tonic, I think, for a lot of the woes. But you still have special teams question marks that are going to continue to linger. But we can talk all that tonight. Of course, we're brought to you by Pride Roofing, the official roofing company of TigerBait.com. Mike Faraday, Alex Martinez. We'll talk about them a little bit further on the show. And as always, guys, if you enjoy the show, please hit that like button. It really helps us with the YouTube algorithm. And big thanks to all you guys for subscribing. I think we're probably going to hit the 15,000 subscriber mark within a week. And thanks to you guys big time for spreading the word. And by hitting that like button, you hit that like button, and it helps our channel grow because it gets us in the recommended category for guys that go down those wormholes on YouTube every night. It's a bad deal. I'll get on YouTube at night, and I'm telling you, I'll get lost for 2 or 3 hours just going from one video to the next. So, all right, I got a bunch of stacking up here. Nurse Court's first one in the show. What's up, Mike and Buddy? Chad Ortega, let's get it. Buddy, it's Mississippi, says Paul Eskine. Fire 3449. Hey, Mike, Preston's interview with Glenn Gilbo was actually good. That was pretty divisive. I had some guys on TigerBait that were upset that we allowed him on our platform, and but I will say I think Glenn was a good sport about it. But reading the mean tweets, obviously he dishes it out, and I think he took it. So,
but he's backtracking a little bit.
I think he did.
He's backtracking a little bit.
I think he did.
Yeah, us white guys like Gilbo and Scarborough and Songy, we can't do the gritty like Kim Mulkey. How cool was that, the gritty over at SEC Media Days? Folks, Kim Mulkey and the Tigers, both women and men, are going to pack that place this year. Basketball on the horizon, loaded in baseball, and if they beat Ole Miss 6-2 with 2 weeks to get ready against a vulnerable, I say more vulnerable than normal, Alabama team that had 17 penalties against Tennessee. Who would have thought the SEC would have a crew that would call 17 penalties against Alabama? You know which crew that was? That was the one that was suspended 2 years ago for a bad game. So Bama fans are actually acting like they got the bad
yeah, we don't want to hear from them. Josh Forbes, let's go, Mike and Buddy. Tyler Townsend, what's up, guys? Glad to have you with us, Tyler. Delton Deuce said hello. Rick Cloetti, and man, Clote, he's told me how to say it 5 times. I know it, and I'm awful. Mike and Buddy, love your show. Can LSU stop the Ole Miss rushing attack this week? Let me come back to that. I got a couple of super chats real quick. Good evening, Mike and Buddy. Beat Ole Miss week, says Trey Potan. And Paul Escon with a super chat. I need to find the Pride Roofing tailgate pregame. I think they might be doing one this week. If I find out, I'll make sure you get that. But thanks, Paul, for the super chat. Thanks, Trey, for the super chat. And back to Rick's question. Stopping the Ole Miss rushing attack, because that seems like that's what everybody believes is the key. You stop them from running the football, and then you make Dart try and beat you with his arm.
Everybody knows about Zach Evans. In fact, he was an LSU lean. We thought he was going to come here. Unfortunately, as we opened up his room, there was quite a bit of baggage, and for whatever reason, he didn't end up here. And now they got him in the transfer portal. Freshman Judkins is 700-plus yards rushing. Zach Evans, 600-plus yards rushing. Mike, they're averaging 5.8 yards per carry. And if LSU, this is why I wore the black and blue. This defense of the Tigers is black and blue.
This is why you were talking about wanting Harold Perkins on the field.
Every play, Harold Perkins, and how cool was that to see him spying on Anthony Richardson the last 6-7 minutes of that game. I'm hoping to see that same similarity if LSU is protecting the lead, him spying on Jackson Dart.
Absolutely. Chance Babin, Mike Savion Jones is fastly becoming a player you said he would be.
Hey, kudos to you.
Yeah.
That took coconuts for you to rate him ahead of Mason Smith.
Yeah, but I would like to see Mason out there. You know,
I know that, but I want to see Savion Jones just as much, if more so than Ali Gay. The stats prove it.
Well, if you give me the choice, I'm taking Savion. I want to see more of him, just like everybody wants to see more of Perkins.
Got to have a big
But
game.
we knew he was raw. In fact, there's a lot of comparisons, even though they're different weight-wise, between Savion and Quincy Wiggins. Two guys with high motor, high athleticism, great bodies, but are raw, really raw. So to see him coming along as a redshirt freshman, I think the sky's the limit for Savion Jones. And so, look who the ends might be next year. I mean, you're going to need these guys.
Hey, 11, Ali Gay. Obviously, 6, Mike Jones. And 18, B.J. Ojulari. They were deemed captains, voted by the team. And really, if you think about it, Ojulari leads LSU 4.5 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks. But I got to see 18 back there for a sack and a half this weekend. Ali Gay played better against Tennessee. But Savion Jones has had more stats and more tackles per minutes than Ali Gay. And then poor Mike Jones. Look, if you're not going to be a middle linebacker, I'd love to see him put them. Of course, it's hard to take off BJ and Perkins and all that. But to me, he looks like an outside rusher, or even PFM says a safety. But let him rush the passer. But unfortunately, those three captains are not having the greatest statistical lead. So they've got to lead vocally as well as example. But they need big games from all three of those.
Barry Doty, Barry D. from Oxford, Mississippi, give a big shout-out. Go Tigers. Barry, I'm assuming you're saying you're an LSU fan that lives in Oxford. I imagine that's got to be pretty rough. Look at Trucking with Casper coming in with a big super chat. He's one of our best.
I was going to give him a shout-out before you named it because he's here every week. Thank
absolutely,
you,
yeah, thank you, absolutely. Great to see you, Mike and Buddy. Can't stay on tonight going out for drinks. All right. But wanted to support the show. Great job, as always. You two, go Tigers. Thank you, Trucking. And be careful on the road and don't drink and drive.
Hey, shout out to Nurse Court, Danny, Girl, Kristen, all of the great female LSU fans. What I wanted to say about Nurse Court last week, it kind of came out wrong, but she was one of the few people, 1,000 people left in the stands at the end of the debacle about Tennessee. Now, I got to ask you as we connect the dots here. Last time LSU played the top 10 team in Baton Rouge, granted, it was not a perfect scenario. Will Campbell, we got that news Friday afternoon. You and I are talking Friday night at 10 o'clock. Can you believe this happened? So that was a mess. But now you got another opportunity. This is a notch on the belt. He's already beat a team that he wasn't favored in. Can he beat a top 10 team? And do you feel it, or are you like me? I'm nervous until the back part of the week this week.
Tennessee's for real. And
there's no doubt.
Everybody I know and thoroughly enjoyed watching that. Of course, it bled into the kick of LSU. Mm-hmm. But good for Tennessee, and but they're for real. Now we're going to find out if Ole Miss is for real because nobody sees that they played anybody except for Kentucky, and Kentucky blew that one.
They choked that game.
So 2:30, I think LSU. I think LSU's played better on the road. So I think it's time for LSU to show they can really put together a performance and get to keep it going. Because if they win this game, and then you get an open date, you get to get some guys healthy. Not saying that they're going to upset Alabama or anything like that, but it sets you up for the rest of November. And then all of a sudden, you're going to have some people, if they could win this game and now they're favored, going beyond where most people are at 8-4, and people might be talking 9-3. I mean,
well, let's go.
If he goes 8-4, and that's one thing Glenn did say last night. If he goes 8-4, he thinks he should be SEC Coach of the Year.
Okay, well, let's go week to week. I think.
And I said that in the preseason.
Yeah, but come on, Josh Heupel's going to win the Coach of the Year if Tennessee ascends.
Yeah, well, the winner gets everything.
Let's not worry about that. But look,
it's a fine job. He'll finish second.
It's week to week, and Lane Kiffin is going to have something after they play LSU. They've got A&M, and they've got Ole Miss, and they got Mississippi State, and they got one other team. So look, there's plenty of football to be played, but it's mighty nice to come see LSU extend that streak of 4 consecutive wins against the Gators.
Hal Jubin, Mike, we win Saturday. Do we finish the month of November at 4-1? See? Yeah.
I got to be honest. This team has not been consistent.
And what about Arkansas?
That's going to be a tough road game.
Regardless of how well they're playing, it's just going to Fayetteville.
Yeah.
Fire 3-4. Will Campbell was named SEC Lineman of the Week. Okay, it was a 10-day deal that I was amazed about on Monday when he's Offensive Lineman of the Week in the SEC. So now we go a 14 in a what would that be? An 11-12 day period. He goes from having a seizure, being in the hospital, missing a game, to SEC Offensive Lineman of the Week, and now today he was named the Academic Tiger of the Week.
And, of course, on an early All-American team, freshman All-American, of course, all those midseason teams don't mean anything. But what an incredible job. Look, we talked to Emory Jones. Can you imagine if Emory Jones would have been an early enrollee? Both of them might have been started. But it's unprecedented. They're taking their knocks, but Campbell has played fantastic. Listen, when he's in the hospital, I'm looking at him and I'm going like, man, you just hope the guy is going to be okay. We hope that this is nothing serious. We hope that he will continue. Mike, not only does he continue, comes back as the lineman of the week. This guy, and when we
Neville, do you have any more offensive linemen coming up?
Yeah, well, no, but I mean, the beautiful thing about Hurd, if he comes in and wants to play tackle, you can move Emory Jones in the guard. Got to find another center. Got to find some more. But this thing is starting to look really good for the O-line in the future.
Barry Doty, yes, I catch flack on a daily basis here in Oxford, but I proudly wear the purple and gold. Good for you, Barry. Got a big flag hanging on the front of the house too, I bet. Andy Whitaker with a super chat. Big thanks, Andy. This show is a highlight of my week when Buddy joins. Appreciate you guys. Not feeling too great about this game. It's hard to predict this one, but would be a huge win for the Tigers.
Well, look, like we were saying, jumping the gun and wanting to talk about this team and who's going to be in November. Let's just
2 weeks ago they were saying can they get to 6-6?
Well, and it's been a roller coaster ride, so let's not expect them all of a sudden to come out and play perfect. Mike, couple things you gotta look at. You gotta start faster on Saturday. You got down 20-0 in that Bourbon and Cheerios game with Tennessee. Cannot get that kind of deficit. Gotta have touchdowns in the red zone instead of field goals. Love Damian Ramos making a 47-yarder, but you got to score touchdowns when you're going up against Lane Kiffin. And then the third thing, got to tackle better, and Matt House has got to have a great plan, because I think most people will agree Lane Kiffin may be a little immature, and he may get shafosed and put stuff on Twitter and troll people, but he's one of the best play callers in college football, and that will be a challenge with House and this defense on Saturday.
Absolutely. Big thanks, Andy, and thanks for the kind words, and absolutely.
Hey, you remember who wanted Lane Kiffin as the LSU head coach?
Black Dog?
Guess who he wanted at quarterback? Nice.
Oh, okay.
Good to see you, Black Dog. We hadn't heard from you in about 7 weeks.
Well, he wanted Lane Kiffin, and he can still argue that, can he? I mean, they won 10 games last year, and they're 7-0 right now.
Lane Kiffin has never won a championship.
If you're an Ole Miss fan,
as a coach,
what's it like in Oxford right now? Because what are they experienced compared to what they've been experiencing in the last 25, 30 years?
They know they have great offense, but they're trying to figure out when the defense is going to be on the same page as the offense. But they did a great job in the transfer portal.
I compared it earlier on Buddy's show to being like a little run that Petrino had at Arkansas, and Buddy said, well, he doesn't have a motorcycle, so he's not going to have that problem.
$15 million motorcycle ride. That was a costly one.
Kevin Vircher, injury update. Great show. Go Tigers.
Here we go. Today, this morning, Brian Kelly said, Armani Goodwin, we're going to find out today how he is feeling. They're trying to bring him back. He's got a hammy. He's had hammies before. And so I think we'll know by the time he meets with the media tomorrow afternoon and do the radio show, his availability. Major Burns is expected to come back against Alabama. I think Garrett Dellinger is expected to come back against Alabama. Seven Banks is a ways off. Anybody else we looking for? Anybody we missing? I think that's the main particulars. I'll tell you.
You said Besh. You mentioned Besh.
Besh is going to play, and Besh is going to continue along with Gregory Clayton to be in the return game. I don't know if that's punt or kickoff or both, but I am no longer going to give my opinion.
I want to see on Besh.
Special teams, I think they've been poorly coached, and I don't know if they can fix it this year. I just don't.
Bart Smokey, lucky Jermaine Burton went to Georgia, then Bama, and not here.
Somebody, maybe it was you, and he flipped from LSU to Georgia, and somebody said he's got some issues in the locker room. He is a diva.
There's some Elias Ricks in him.
Yeah, there's some Elias Ricks. But let me say this real quick. Please, guys, I don't care where you are.
You don't push women.
No, exactly. You don't put a hand on a woman regardless, in any way, shape, or form.
Absolutely. Yeah, I saw this earlier, Von Bluesman. I hope, I don't know what the circumstances are, but Mississippi State offensive lineman, a 19-year-old Sam Westmoreland, died today.
Oh, jeez.
No cause listed yet.
Okay. Terrible.
Absolutely. So thoughts and prayers out to Mississippi State and the young man's family.
They have Alabama this weekend, and they are 21-point dogs. So you would think the people that bet on Alabama might jump on that one.
Fred Wright, is Coy Moore still chirping?
Oh, Fred. I used to remember you and Fred having a little fun on the message board.
Well, Fred was a big Les Miles fan.
I know.
I got a lot of people mad at me when I started saying it was time for Miles to go in 2015. Nurse Court, Mike and Buddy, hearing that Goodwin is practicing, will he be back?
I think it's at what percent he's going to be back. Look, he's not going to be 100%. And so they will get with the trainers and look, we hadn't talked about this in a while, but what do you think? Are we seeing much difference? We're talking about different training. We're talking about different strength and conditioning and nutrition and all the things that they have implemented. How do you think, and I know it's only halfway season and we're going to the back end, but do you feel like this is the way of the future, the way LSU has taken this ball and run with it? I'm talking about the whole group of people. I mean, the doctors, the nutrition people, the food, all of the change of culture. You like the way
I do. It's amazing. I mean, but at the same time, it does rankle some people.
That what?
Well, when you make a clean sweep like that, you get rid of Moffitt, and it upsets the former players. Marucci's role isn't as big as it used to be. He's more in other sports, But I think part of the problems where the program got to where it was is because at no time in the last 20 years did they absolutely level the place and clean house with changes. When you went from, you had carryover from Hallman. I mean, you still have people in there that were hired in the Hallman age. Not there's anything wrong with it. If I named them, you would say, yeah, you keep them. They're good. I mean, guys like Sam Nader, any coach would want to keep around if he was younger. But the lawsuits with I ain't gonna name names and some of that stuff I don't think would have ever happened if at some point a big name was hired. Either had Les Miles been cut in 15, or let's say, God forbid, Jimbo had come in. If Jimbo would have gotten the job in 15, he would have cleaned house. He would have wanted all his people. Now he probably would have kept guys like that were there when he was there, Sam and so forth. But a lot of the recruiting staff people and the stuff that were lingering around there, they all had to go. And so but so what does that do? There's relationships there. Former players have relationships there. And so, but I think those guys over time, they'll come around to it because they know it had to happen.
Listen, when you give somebody the car keys to the program and you're paying $100 million, excuse me, you got to let them bring their people in. And my answer to the question that I would say is that we got to wait and see on due time. But I like some of the things they've implemented. Mike Jones swears by what they're doing, the vitamins, sleep, they chronicle. They find out exactly how many hours you sleep.
And these kids,
all these little things.
These kids now have grown up in a whole. We talk about them being coddled and woke and all that, but
got to be accountable now.
But they have a lot more challenges in their lives than we did. And that is true. So they've got a big mental health thing that was never there before that's getting bigger and bigger. So, but that nutrition center is the one thing to me that's like, because I like to eat, but the food, that is huge.
But here's where
look at some of the guys we've seen put on 18, 20 pounds. Look what Jaden Daniels put on in a hurry. Look what,
Quincy transformed 15 pounds of fat into 15 pounds of muscle.
Yeah.
He told us that.
Those kids don't eat like that. A lot of them, their parents can't afford to feed them half of what they're getting. So
I do think they need to recruit bigger, faster, stronger, and I'm still sticking with my number at 35. I went through this roster and possible attrition and people going out. Like, you don't think Jaden Daniels is going to go. He probably going to go. Jaquelin Roy probably going to go. Makai Garner probably going to go. All those guys. And so I like the number 35, but I want to see, Mike, more physicality in that defense.
Trey Potan, big weekend with recruits coming in. What both y'all's opinion, if we finally see more consistency and progress play for the rest of the year? Yeah, it is going to be a big weekend. Ole Miss day game, 2:30. You're going to be able to get them in. Womack's coming in from Baltimore, and many others. So we're putting together a list and going to have a big one up on TigerBait real quick.
I don't think enough has been made of the fact that, and everybody likes to project and records and all that, but 4-3, and now you're getting ready to play Ole Miss and Bama. Your brain's going to say, wow, if they lose those two games, they got to lose in season 4-5. That brings you back to bad memories of the last 2 years. 5-2, your brain says, wait a minute. You figure out a way to beat Ole Miss, and by the way, I still haven't figured out why Vegas has made such a point spread change so quickly. Maybe they know something more than we do. They generally do. But you win that game now 6-2 with 2 weeks to get ready. That Bama game is going to be torched because Tennessee, Georgia play that same weekend. They will be on CBS. That looks like a 6 o'clock game, LSU, Bama. They win this game, you're talking about a hard ticket and Tiger Stadium rocking again and not full of the opponent's fan base.
Absolutely. All right, guys, it's that time. Let's hear from our good buddy Mike Faraday and Alex Martinez.
Hi, I'm Michael.
I'm Alex.
At Pride Roofing, we handle commercial and residential work.
TPO, shingle, and metal inventory. We got it.
Property still in disarray from the recent hurricanes and hailstorms. Insurance claims?
No problem. But Pride Roofing is the official roofer at TigerBait.com.
In fact, notify TigerBait, and we'll give you a free roof inspection. And on top of that, you get a free year subscription. Call 855-PRIDE-16. Se habla Espanol.
There you have it, Pride Roofing, the official roofing company of TigerBait.com. Call them 855-PRIDE-16. Tell them you heard about it on TigerBait, and they're going to pay for you to have premium TigerBait for a year. They're paying for it. And, of course, if you're anywhere from Orange, Texas, all the way through the Gulf Coast of Mississippi, up to Jackson, Mississippi, and everything up to Alexandria, they've got you covered, residential or commercial, for any of your roofing needs. And, of course, based right there in Albany, Louisiana, right there on Florida Boulevard. Stop in and take a look. See what all they've got going across the street, and then you got the big sheet metal company right across the street that they purchased. And it's a phenomenal organization, and loving watching the growth of that company.
Talked to Mike a couple times the last week. Metal roofs are hot as can be right now with that acquisition of Crown Metals. The whole roofing and metal roofing game has changed once again. Look, you're not going to see us on TV every frickin' 20 minutes, okay? I'm talking about Baton Rouge. But we're everywhere, and we try to do a great job. We take pride in the job we do. Official roofing sponsor, of course, the TigerBait, Buddy Sports Talk. And as we always tell you, they do it from A to Z. They get there early. They put your roof up. They are clean. They're not going to be smoking cigarettes, drinking a beer, and texting on your roof. Some of these people, it's amazing watching some
They
of these
get there,
people.
they get the dumpster down, get your old shingles off, get the new one off. If you got a basic, 2,500 square foot middle class home, Louisiana, a lot of times they get you done in a day. And you're not going to see a trace that they were even there. There's no debris on the ground. And if you see anything that's a problem, you call them, and Mike's going to take care of it. And Alex.
Sharpen the pencil on a monetary deal. Folks, we've had 5 to 10 people call Mike and I personally. Man, they came in about $250 too much, $500 too much, whatever. They will get the deal for you, and we appreciate when you give them an opportunity because you won't be disappointed. Once again, 855-PRIDE-16. If you're not in the Baton Rouge area, 225-275-2041 in Baton Rouge. Alex is a real piece of work, and Mike is the salt of the earth, and, of course, a family friend with the Scarboroughs for many, many years.
Absolutely. Broadmoor High graduate and LSU grad is Mike, and Alex is as good as it gets. Joshua Ford, Mike, that's a bit much. Miles did win a natty, even though it was Saban players. He was one of the most winningest coach. He couldn't beat Bama and had some quirks. I don't know what was a bit much. I thought he needed to get canned in 2015.
Well, I think that as we
And
know,
it proved to be true. You cut him loose 4 games into 16.
Yeah.
That was a waste of time. Is it as big of a waste of time as the Johnny Jones in the Trent Johnson eras in basketball?
I will say this. Richard Gill was one of the big players when
Not the whole tenure of Miles. Just
Yeah,
hold him over to
I was just
16.
gonna say, Richard Gill was a big LSU big-time player. You remember him. And I had a friendship with him. And I actually talked to him, before they hired Les. And I said, is this guy going to get an opportunity? He said, yeah, we're going to talk to him. Of course, he got clobbered by Ohio State in the bowl game. And I don't know if you remember, but they named him that the coach either right before the game or after. I mean, the rumors went out. But Les did a lot of good things. Unfortunately, he had very hard-headed and was stubborn and didn't want to change offense and didn't want to change offensive coordinators. And, folks, I got to be honest with you. This is what excited me about last week. There was a change, regardless if you're going to give Den Brock the credit, Daniels the credit, Kelly the credit, or all 3 of them, but they called better plays. And as long as they continue to move forward and don't be stubborn and hard-headed, like Jimbo and like Les. Oh, by the way, folks, both those 2 guys won a national championship. So let's see what we do moving forward. But I'm excited about the future, and I do think that LSU is going to have to score a bunch of points this weekend.
Dane Bergeron with a super chat, and I was waiting for him. He's probably the ringleader of the Glenn Gilbo hate club. With a super chat, he goes, I'm loving the Bama melt over officiating. They were giving many gifts courtesy of Dirty Tom Ritter and company over the years that affected the outcome of the game. I thought of Tom Ritter earlier. And he goes, and by the way, Preston is on double secret probation for having Gilbo on last night. And, yeah.
Well, Snake, the site would not be the same without you and Shark and all the other great, people that come on the site. I know you really appreciate those guys because the site, I'm just a small part of the Wednesday night shows, but the guys have done a fantastic job. Mike has really done a great job getting all this stuff up on the site. You get high school videos, you get the whole gamut. But Snake, I think we all kind of agree with your comments about double.
Okay. I jumped on. Thanks, Josh. Thanks for correcting me. He said, no, Mike, that was for a comment in the thread.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. Yes, evidently an earlier commenter said, thanks, Josh, and my apologies. Palermo Trapani, Mike, an earlier poster said Miles was a worse coach than Hallman. Yeah, come on. No. You know, no one can ever get an interview with Hallman. Have you ever talked to him since he left?
I have not. I'm not sure where.
I know
clearly
Jacques
he is.
Doucet's tried to get him. No one can get him.
By the way, Jacques,
But he'll do Alabama radio.
Jacques had a little snippet with Matt McMahon today.
He had Moki yesterday.
But I know he had Matt McMahon today, and Matt has not made the rounds yet. But I will just say this, you remember when you and I would talk about less offense, and we'd say, and I know you people said the same thing, Mike, how's he going to recruit wide receivers if he keeps tossing it back to the tailback 30 times a game? And I'll be darned if he didn't continue to recruit wide receivers. The guy just knew how to recruit. But do you think, this is what I was trying to connect, do you think opening it up, 6 touchdowns, 3 via the run, 3 via the pass with the quarterback, the wide receivers got some balls, 32 completions against Tennessee. Do you think these wide receivers, running backs, and quarterbacks are now looking at LSU in a more positive light moving forward with the offensive game plan?
I think so. But I like I said on the show, I think it just makes it easier because you're not having to. If the players are even asking the question, you're not having to explain. Well, this is what we're trying to do, but we're not there yet. Now they can show it to them on film. And so if Jaden Daniels continues to do what he does the whole rest of the way, and then those receivers are happy, because that's the other part of it. You know, your own players can hurt you and do you favors in recruiting, because the kids come into town, they talk, they go out together, and the last thing you want is a current player telling a recruit, hey, man, this offense or this – I don't like this. If you're safety, I don't like the way they use this. Or you don't want anything like that being said. And so you want those wide receivers being happy.
And that's why it was so important to get 7 back in. And what you saying? I mean, give me the scoop on Julian saying, how do you feel, LSU?
I felt for 3 or 4 weeks that was the guy.
I know, but do we have an impending commitment, or is it going to take a while of time? And who's?
I don't think it's going to take long.
Who are they fighting in that battle?
I mean, look, you got a bunch of schools in there, but I think LSU's clearly. He's going to take some other visits. So, yeah, I think Joe Sloan has done a phenomenal job with him.
Yeah. But back to the comment, Armani Goodwin will know definitively. I think he's going to play, Mike. The question is at what percent. And, hey, kudos to Josh Williams. First time ever with a 100-yard game. And, look, I know that cat's not sexy, and he's not the greatest when you talk about accolades, but he is a leader on that team because he stuck it out, earned a scholarship, and he's the best running back on that team, although I do sense Emory is shaking more rust off each week, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Chance Babb and the media tried to get Mulkey again on Griner. I sent a text message ever since LSU was courting Mulkey, and then she got hired. I became real good friends with the guys over at Sikkim 365 in Waco, and I'm always kind of jabbing a little bit about Mulkey, and they give me they kind of gave me the background of Griner and everything and what went on there between those two. But I sent him a text. Said, what's the over and under on how many questions in a Mulkey? And sure enough, it was the first one out the chute.
But she handled it magnificently, and I got to tell you, man, this is what you ought to be damn excited about when you see Matt McMahon handling questions. And now he's not fluff. Matt is red beans and rice, not even with the Manda sausage. But you see Jay Johnson, and you see Kim Mulkey, and you see Brian Kelly. They all have a plan. They all have a process. And I think good times are ahead for the Tiger fan base in all those major sports.
Absolutely. Hal Jubin says she answered a lot better this time than 3 weeks ago. Yeah, she didn't do herself any favors the way she answered at that time. If she would have done that then, she would have been coast clear. Make them go dig up Tiger Rag's podcast.
Well, that's what she put the young lady in her place, and I think, I don't know, do you believe those kind of things are planted there?
Put it this way, I understand her aggravation, knowing what I know about the relationship between those two. Some of it doesn't need to be put out there, but I mean, everybody knows the book that was written and the things that she said that weren't true. And she said she would apologize publicly, and she apologized to Mulkey, and she never did.
Yeah.
And so that kind of stuff gets used in recruiting.
I'll just tell you this, to doing the gritty, before long, Flau'jae Johnson is going to have Kim Mulkey rapping, and that place is going to be hopping. Jay Clark with gymnastics, Matt McMahon with men's basketball, and the Lady Tigers. There are going to be some sellouts with those 3 events coming to the PMAC this fall.
Fred Wright, any recruiting news to share? I think we're going to have some things start to happen here in the next few weeks. With 2 home games, 2 marquee opponents, visitors, been sitting at 22 since August, a handful for 24. But you're still going to have a lot of guys that are going to make a decision in December. But that said, I think you're going to start seeing maybe some 24 kids come into the fold. And but I think probably you've got a pretty good idea who are some of the high school kids. But then it's going to get real interesting in December when you start talking about kids that hit the portal and who are those names going to be. That's going to be real interesting. The portal recruiting is going to be what's going to be the biggest news in the next 3 or 4 months.
And I think everybody out there viewing tonight deserves a little bit of a war room. So
yeah,
let's see if we can get one out there.
Absolutely, I'm trying to.
You've been working on that.
I did get to see John David LaFleur Friday night. I drove to St. Martinville. I really like what I see there.
What classification is he?
He's 25, and he's already 6'6", 240.
Okay.
And doesn't get the ball thrown to him enough, but I think they've got quarterback issues at Sulphur. There's even some talk wondering could he get big enough to maybe be a tackle. Mm-hmm. But athletic, also plays basketball. And, of course, he's the son of former LSU great David LaFleur. And so we're heading out again tomorrow night and Friday night, and we've got a lot more recruiting stuff coming your way, footage, and we've been hitting it, man. EW4, hit the like button, fellas. Absolutely, guys. Big thanks to all you guys. If you're enjoying the show, please hit the like button. And do me a favor, too. Share our show to your Twitter, your Facebook. Get the word out there. It's very much appreciative. Hal Jubin, when does the November signing period start? That's always, the second Wednesday?
December.
For basketball.
Oh, basketball, yeah. That's, I think, actually, Coach McMahon said they open a season 3 weeks from today, but usually around November 7th or 10th, somewhere in that neighborhood.
What are your thoughts on that idea they're floating for summer basketball?
I just saw a little bit of.
I kind of like that idea.
Yeah. A lot of people are thinking about that.
McMahon likes the idea, but I wonder if Mulkey does.
Yeah. Mulkey can't stop talking
because
about
there is a dead period there where it gets downright depressing, where there's no sports on.
Well, but look, Gary Reedus is the new basketball recruiting guru for Kim Mulkey, and trust me, folks, that is going to be a very talented team. Angel Reese is the name you're going to learn to love, and Coach Mulkey said she is a beast. So, look, when's the last time LSU had one of those incredibly aggressive offensive rebounders that just pounds the glass? This could be a lot of. They came in preseason 16.
Have you seen the schedule? How nice is it to be an LSU girls basketball player? They're going to the Bahamas and Hawaii.
Yeah.
They got 2 big trips to islands.
Hey, they will return the favors with the sellouts.
Absolutely. I think they're going to have a few. I think.
Yep, they are.
Bart Smokey, Hallman is the epitome of a coach going way too high due to a quarterback making him look better than he is. And I saw that firsthand when Southern Miss played USL at Cajun Field. Brett Favre made Curly Hallman the head football coach at LSU. And Joe Dean and Gil Brandt said, take Curly Hallman and never look back.
Yeah, pretty good invitation.
Don't look back. Boy, you want to talk about a waste of time. Joe Dean. Let me get to some of these. Dane Bergeron says, I have my season tickets for LSU women's basketball. I know a lot of people that got them that were buying individual tickets for almost every game last year, and then finally said, man, I'm going to need to go ahead and buy the season.
Bob Starkey also back, and everybody knows Bob is a legend, about the nicest guy you've ever met. Worked with Dale Brown and Shaq.
Dude, I finally met him.
Yeah, he's something.
After,
he's special.
After last week. It was after
Simone Augustus thing?
No, it was after Brian Kelly's press conference on Monday. I went to go see if Mike was out in the cage before I got to the car, and he comes walking up the sideline and started talking to him. Super nice guy.
Yeah. So
he'll talk your ear off.
Yep.
Good man.
Good people.
Now you understand why everybody talks so glowingly about him.
Sure.
Palermo Trapani. Mike, what is your early estimate of the quality of the 2024 class playing the fall of 23? Some early predictions. I might suggest that there's 15 4-stars in LA next year. I really like it, but there's also, in fact, let me pull my list up because I put together something. I've been working on something, and I want to have it in front of me because I don't want to miss anybody. But you still have some holes there. Where are the running backs for 24? I don't see a 24 quarterback in the state of Louisiana. That's why you go and get you a Julian Sayin. If Flagway looks like he's heading to A&M, I think Sayin has been the guy they've been. But you got Kobe Young and Holy Cross. You got Tradez Green at East Feliciana, who we've already filmed and interviewed this season. We're going to see him again. East Feliciana's at Dunham. What is that, Friday night? We're going to be there for that one. Got 2 defensive linemen at Westgate and LCA. And, of course, Xavier Atkins already committed. Wallace Foster will be coming off a knee injury at Warren Easton. Jawan Johnson is going to be scaling the list big time.
Yeah.
Wardell Mack at Eric, Tylen Siegelton at Manny. Those are 10 right there that currently have offers from LSU.
And the beautiful thing about it, with that rule change, is unlimited scholars this year as long as you don't exceed 85. And I think this is going to be interesting to watch. Look, everybody beats Coach Pullian up with special teams. And you know what? Damn it, he deserves it. But, man, this guy was the point guy that came here, started establishing the relationships, and started filling that roster. But they didn't get any super duper guys from the transfer portal. Got good players, but not great players. Second year around, I asked you this question. Do they bring in some great players from the transfer portal? Zach Evans came over from Texas, TCU, to come over at Ole Miss. He's a pretty good football player. So in year 2, do you think they get higher quality transfer portal guys? Because now,
I don't think they take any reaches in the portal.
Yeah.
Unless they just have no choice. But I think they can be a lot more selective.
Yeah.
And they're not going to be under the gun. But I think the guys that they are going to want, they're going to want them to be mid-termers that can get there and be there in the spring.
I'd love to see that big old running back from Louisiana that's right now trying to understand why Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame is 3-3.
Yeah, I think you need to get a transfer portal running back to go with the 2 high school kids.
Let's see if we can dig something up.
Yeah. Speaking of guys, we talk about it every week. If you're thinking of buying a home, refinancing your current mortgage, haven't found a lender you can trust, let me tell you about Tony Freeman with Assurance Financial right here in Baton Rouge. Dear friend of mine, many of my friends have used her over and over for their mortgage needs. Her knowledge and over 25 years of experience in the mortgage industry is unsurpassed. She offers a wide range of knowledge of home loan products, whether you're a first-time home buyer ready to buy a new home or you just want to explore your refinance options. Tony can guide you through your next mortgage experience. You can feel confident you're making the best financial decision with Tony as your guide. Not only is Tony a huge LSU fan, but Assurance Financial is a proud partner of LSU Athletics. Call Tony today, 225-239-7150. Again, 225-239-7150. And please, whatever you do, tell her that you heard about her on TigerBait.com. NMLS number 104765, Equal Housing Opportunity 70876.
Congratulations again, Tony. Got married earlier this year. Look, they're on LSU Athletics. I hear them in the radio in and out. Even sponsoring Calicut. They are big-time players in this community and just good people who will look you in the eye and make you comfortable. As we know, this has been a crazy, volatile economic situation with the market and the feds and all the things going on. You've talked about it, man.
Yeah, you
wanna
need
have
it-
somebody that knows what's going on.
And you want somebody who's going to be on top of it, that's going to get you closed, who's going to chase down the additional paperwork you need. She's going to find you the best rate. And it's not just in Louisiana. She's licensed in surrounding states. So if you're in Mississippi, Arkansas, Alabama, Texas, she's licensed in most states in the South. So she can get you hooked up. That's who you want to deal with. Tony Freeman with Assurance Financial.
2:37 kickoff this Saturday. If you're like me, you're going to watch it on the big tube. And I will probably mute Gary Danielson and Brad Nessler. I might turn it up for Jenny Dell, the sideline reporter. But does Danielson bother you, or you think he gets unwarranted criticism? And are you happy to see that CBS is going to be losing?
I thought it was a big come down when Blackledge left CBS to go to ESPN, and they replaced him with Danielson.
Yeah.
I mean, didn't they have early in the season? They had a Big Ten matchup, and the Big Ten fans were already complaining. Is this what we're going to be dealing with from now on?
Now, look, he played quarterback, and he's very knowledgeable. But I think that we're all going to – look, you never really know how much you like.
I'll tell you who's growing on me. What's the former Alabama quarterback for SEC Network?
Greg McElroy.
I think he's doing a good job.
I think
he's getting better.
Although he was butthurt when Tennessee beat his boys last
That's
week.
all right. Look, you got LSU fans on those shows. Spears and Clark,
Yeah,
they're all
absolutely.
they wear it on their sleeve. But I think he's fair, and he's getting better and better over time.
Yeah.
Dane Bergeron, you guys are going to make me have to visit Dr. Daniels with your reminiscing about Miles and Hallman. Thanks for the super chat, Dane. American Patriot, how is Besh? I feel so sorry for that kid. He plays his heart out. I hope he doesn't get discouraged. You're almost at 15,000. Everyone hit subscribe. Thanks, American Patriot, big time. Yeah, I know that it's that recurring back injury. Look, they said he had shin splints in August, and it was something else. Let's see how it plays out. But he's a tough kid. Don't worry about him getting discouraged. He is a fighter.
I brought this up on a radio show, and I think it's well worth mentioning again, Mike. You know, Nick Saban believed in having a shrink for the guys to come in here. And I don't know if anybody has asked, or we really haven't gotten confirmation of it. But I really think in this day and age, with all the things going on, and you could see when Kelly was looking into the eyes of Jack, and you could see Jack was going like, can you freaking believe this? Me, a guy that catches everything, and now I've let you and the team down not once but twice. I'm a firm believer, man. What do you tell those guys? How do you get their confidence back?
And what do you? Is there any chance that because of what happened to Malik Neighbors, that those guys start thinking, I hope that doesn't happen to me?
Absolutely, that's what I'm saying.
And then it's infectious.
Yeah. Look, they have got to do a better job in the return game. This has been a real spot that LSU has not been great on in the last couple 3 years. Derek Stingley never returned one to the house. Trey Palmer did, but
See, now people looking at Trey Palmer doing what he's doing at Nebraska and saying, boy, sure kind of miss him. Could use him right now.
oh, he'd still be 6 or 7 on the depth chart because he dropped everything when he's at LSU. Hey, maybe it's LSU. He's catching it at Nebraska.
I mean,
He dropped everything at LSU.
Preston knows. I got so aggravated with Trey Palmer.
A lot of people did.
I would.
But you made a great point I didn't think of. It might have become a psychological phobia to everybody that is out there. I personally would give Malik Neighbors another shot, whether it be kickoff return or punt returns. But, man, now you got the fan base saying, well, I don't care. As long as he fair catches it and catches the ball, I don't care if there's a return. That's a long way going back from the Honey Badger and Dominic Davis and Kevin Falk and Patrick Peterson and all the other great ones that
Eddie Kennison.
Kennison. So they've got to do a better job. I don't think they can.
Skylar
recover.
Green.
Who?
Skylar Green.
He was good. He was good. Norman Jefferson. You can go way back. But they've got to get better in special teams for next year in the return game.
Mick McGrath. I trolled Brian Driscoll the other night. Boy, I went and looked at a little bit of their post-game show. To think that they thought Freeman was going to be a step up from Kelly.
No, but did you see some of his comments? He basically said, and I'm paraphrasing here, I'm not Brian Kelly, and I don't want to be Brian Kelly, and we've got to do it my way. Look, I don't know if you've noticed this, and this is just me. I don't think Brian Kelly has mentioned Notre Dame since he's been at LSU.
He doesn't.
He talks about the other. And so that is something that he's moved on from.
I mean, there's times when he can't avoid it when people say, well, have you ever had to deal with this? And he'll have to say, well, Grand Valley, we might have seen it once. You know, sometimes you can't avoid it. But he doesn't go out of his way.
But Marcus Freeman, look, the book is not written, but these first 6 or 7 chapters have been very rocky.
Absolutely. Let's scroll up here. Yep, Rick says Trenton Holiday. But it's been a ton of them. It's never been an issue.
Well, look, that brings up the point. Now that you have unlimited scholars for this year, somebody's got to ask Brian Kelly, would you give a kid a scholarship just to be a Trenton Holiday, just to be a guy in the return game that would give you better opportunities to catch it and run with it? It hasn't been a factor for LSU on the offensive side the last 3 years. They got to get better on the lanes, and let's be honest, you got to do an overhaul with special teams, and I don't know if they can get it done until next spring, Mike.
Yeah, Paul Escon, CBS, home with a 4-hour game. They do have Matlock on at 7, followed by Murder, She Wrote at 8.
PFM, always bringing. Oh, by the way, I will say this: PFM, one of those guys that gave Pride Roofing a chance, and trust me, he will give them a great reference because they did a fantastic job on his roof.
And then Bart brings up Casanova.
Well, look.
That was before my time.
Hey, I'll just tell you this. Tommy Casanova and Craig Burns. And this was a question that sounds like a stupid question. They used to.
Someone just brought up Craig Burns. Storm warrant right when you said it.
But they used to have 2 of them back there, okay? And one guy would tell the other guy, so you got Casanova over here and I'm over here with Burns. The guy would say, look, fair catch it. I'm a block for you, whatever. I'm sure they communicated. And I was almost going to ask Kelly that one time about, like, man, all the trouble you had, would you put another guy back there? They don't do it nowadays. But Tommy Casanova was as smooth as a baby's butt. I mean, he was something. And Craig Burns was a feisty, hard-nosed player. But
Sammy Martin.
Another guy that had some juice.
Yeah, Ibieta, you bring him up.
He'd been hurt the whole year. We hadn't seen him at all.
Yeah.
So he'll redshirt.
Yeah, Sammy Martin was something to watch. That was back in the days where you sat in the stands and you cussed at Ed Zonbreaker all night.
Yeah.
Boy, what Ed Zonbreaker, how bad would he be getting roasted if YouTube and talk radio was as big now as in message boards? Boy, he was he as bad as Cam Cameron? Now Hodgson and them loved him, didn't they?
Yeah. You guys, look, your guys that played under him are always gonna, they're not gonna talk bad about him. But now it brings us to the question. So I got to ask you, was that Mike Denbrock? I did slip a little bit of gin in the Gatorade bottles up in the press box. I don't know if they realized that, but he had a little buzz while he was calling some of these plays. And a little drink or two makes you a little bit,
Tito's.
looser. Or do you think Brian Kelly said, okay, guys, we're going to take this ball, and this is what we're going to do. We know he had a little bit of cheat sheet there, so how much impact did he have, and what was he?
I mean, have you seen anything really, if Jaden is doing what he needs to do, where you can accuse them of being conservative? When Jaden is actually standing in the pocket and looking for his second and third options and throwing it where he needs to throw it? I don't know that it's really been that conservative. I mean, they weren't conservative in Gainesville.
Well,
and of course, they won the toss and deferred.
Thank you.
They must have got a new analytics book.
Well, look, I'm going to just say this, and I've said it a couple times.
They found an old Barnes & Noble that was still open.
All right, so you got, let's say 95,000 show up Saturday. Well, they're going to be leaving the stadium saying, man, did you see the plays Lane Kiffin called? Or are they going to be saying, man, did you see the plays Denbrock and Kelly called?
You want it to be at the end of the night, You're raving about Madhouse. I think that's what you want.
Well, no, but my point is that Lane Kiffin knows what you've got to do to win in the SEC. I don't think Den Brock and Kelly realize that you've got to be unpredictable. And I'm not talking about gambling and all that crazy stuff with Tennessee. He knew he had to do that stuff to win the game. But you've got to have the run, the pass, the unpredictability, and get people in space that can make you miss, because it's all about matchups. And right now, I'm seeing a lot more tight ends getting action than wide receivers. And so I'm hoping that with Booty and Jaden getting on the same page, Brian Thomas Jr., we hadn't talked enough about number 11. He's had a fantastic year.
And they don't throw to Jeray Jenkins enough.
Well, all he does is catch touchdowns, leads the team with 4 touchdowns.
Yeah. Von Bluesman, McElroy did take it for the LSU defense on Saturday. I was surprised. He is a highly intelligent guy, but he always loved Bama. You can't blame him. He was a good quarterback for them.
Sure.
But I think he's getting better. I think he's getting better and better as he on the job. I really do, each year. Guys, hit that like button for us. And as always, I want you to go to TigerBait when the show's over. If you're not already a subscriber, please go to the site, tigerbait.com. Sign up for the $1 trial period. If you're an LSU fan, I think you'll enjoy the website. You're going to get our message board, our Tiger Den Premium message board, our newsletters, text alerts for breaking news, and much more. And, of course, nobody does recruiting video better than we do. And we've got a lot more coming your way in the next couple of weeks.
Hey, I'll give you this stat to make you feel good as we wrap up here in the next couple of minutes. Ole Miss has come into Baton Rouge playing LSU 5 times in their history as a top 10 team. Now, some of those teams were in 58, 62, or whatever. Last time, of course, 2014, LSU beat them 10-7 and stymied a drive at the end of the game. But 5 times Ole Miss has come in as a top 10 team against LSU in Tiger Stadium, and they've lost 4, including the last one. So this is going to be an interesting. Will the real LSU team stand up? Are they good enough to beat another top 10 team? They weren't for Tennessee. And how much impact and how much belief does the fan base bring into the stadium? Because, Mike, I don't think they can afford to have another 20-0, 17-0, 10-0 deficit. Because once Kiffin gets ahead, then he starts playing tricks with throwing it over the top and running the football right up the gut. So, got to start better. But I like the history with Ole Miss. And let's be honest, whether it's Charlie or anybody else, we all say this. We're going to find out how good Ole Miss is in the next 5 weeks. And the first test they have to pass is Saturday afternoon. We hope the fans make it a tough situation because, let's be honest, you get down 20-0 at 11 o'clock in the morning, people are going to drink beer and like, this freaking game's over. And you got to get that fan base not only rejuvenated, but you got to get them with a little adrenaline early. You got to score first and do better in the first.
And also, too, when you're talking about Ole Miss, we did mention Nebraska earlier in the show. We know who their athletics director is.
Yeah.
Trev Alberts.
That's right.
Now, what's his famous quote? His famous quote when he was doing talk shows?
Ole Miss is always going to be a run.
Once a run, always a run. And so you knock them off on Saturday, and you get to go there again.
By the way, Mickey Joseph is the interim coach. Somebody called in the other day and said that they think he's got a good job of getting that head coaching job. I don't know. Me and you have talked about Mickey the last 10 years. And look, if he gets the opportunity, fine. But I think Nebraska probably is going to go after somebody a little more accomplished. And
I just don't know with what's happening with expansion, and if you're a coach that's, I don't know what their list looks like. I'm sure Stoops is on it. Why would you leave anywhere like that to go to Nebraska?
Yeah.
I think that's a tough one.
Well, we know the last coach there, of course, Scott Frost, would not give Joe Burrow a chance, wouldn't even talk to him. And this is after his brothers had played at Nebraska. So Scott made a lot of mistakes. But look, ball of wax is this. We're going to find out. I did that research. Remember, I had those 4 pages of research on Lane Kiffin. Look, this guy has been fired so many places, on the tarmac at 3 o'clock in the morning, the whole 9 yards. He's never won a championship as a coach, never. And some people think that this is a year. He always gives Bama trouble. He knows Nick, and Nick knows him. So his wits on offense, does Matt House deliver the game plan to shut them down? And do you feel like me that both teams are going to score 35 or more?
I think they're going to have a good game plan. Let's see if the players can execute it. Von Bluesman, it will be great weather for Saturday's game. We talked about that earlier. It's going to be in the early 80s at around kickoff. I was hoping it'd be around 65. Everybody's pulling out their nice winter and fall clothes. Buddy with the vest, me wearing the quarter zip pullovers, getting them all ready to go. But it's going to get warm again. So, but still, it's still going to be beautiful. It's going to be nice weather. So, and then how far are we away from daylight savings time?
That would be sometime in November.
Early to
Yeah,
mid. Yeah,
yeah.
so we're not, but it's already starting to get a little dark. So, I think it's going to be electric. I really do. I think it's going to be a big crowd. All right, guys, great show. Thanks for you guys participating. Hit that like button on your way out. Go to TigerBait and subscribe. Big thanks to Buddy Songy joining us again this week, and we'll be back here on Saturday with our post-game show. Preston will be via remote any day now. His wife's going to be giving birth. It's slated for Monday, so
Good luck, Press.
hopefully everything goes there. Keep Preston and Alyssa in your thoughts, and we'll see you on the other side. All right, guys, good night.
Go to hell, Ole Miss.